Okay, so here's a good close-up. Here is where my crease is up here. Here is where my name is down here. And now I am going to go ahead and draw my egg-shaped head. Remember that the big part of the egg, there's always a bigger part of the egg and a smaller part of the egg. And the big part of my egg is where your big brain lives. And then the smaller part is where it tapers down to your chin. Your chin is not pointed and it's gently rounded up to the place that holds your big brain. Okay, so I'm gonna put that aside and I'm gonna mark like where the middle point is. This is like the middle point right here. And I marked it right on the fold of where I folded my paper. So I know where that is. So I know that this should be like a half circle right here, okay? It's not going to go all the way to the edges, definitely not, but the middle of the half circle should be right there. Then I'm going to come down on this side. I do want it to be take up most of the area of this paper. So this half circle takes up like the first third of the paper if this was divided into 3 equal sections. Okay, so then just like last week, I'm going to go ahead down here, put my chin right down there. I think that's about halfway. I'm going to do my guidelines. Now, when you are doing guidelines on this one, you have to be careful that you're doing them super duper lightly. Super lightly. Okay, that's not quite the middle of my chin, so I'm going to make my chin a little bit more towards the middle. Good thing I have an eraser. All right, now it's in the middle. Okay, then just like last week, you are going to draw a very light line going from here, gentle curve to your chin. From here, gentle curve to your chin. I'm going to do that a little harder so that you guys can see. I'm not going to do this part harder because I am going to be erasing that later on. So I'm going to keep that light. But for here, I'm going to go harder so that you can see it a lot better. And maybe I'll start right here and go harder so you can see it a lot better. You should go light. You should go light. I just want to do it a little harder so that you can see it on the camera. Okay, so this is nice and light up here. This is harder for me only. You're doing it nice and light. Okay, so now I have to find where my eyes go. That is always the most important part because remember, everything else is measured from the eyes. So I turn my paper sideways, I put my finger at the top of my egg, bottom of my egg, and go at the same rate until my 2 fingers meet. My 2 fingers meet right here. You're going to do a very light line going all the way across. Remember, all of these guidelines get erased at the end. Very light line. Okay, so now I have that line that goes across. My eyes. Who can remember what shape your eyes are? You have 2 options that I gave. One is a fruit. One is a ball that you use in a sport. What shape are your eyes? If you said lemons or footballs, you would be correct. The biggest mistake that people made was not to have points at the end of their eyes. They had ovals instead of lemons or footballs. So remember to skip a little bit of space right here. I'm going to skip about a finger and make sure that you have these points. Point. Do you see that point? At the edges of your eye. Point at the edge of my eye. Okay, then I'm going to skip the same amount of space over here. A couple of people put it right on the middle point, but then your eyes are touching. There's nowhere for your nose to be in between. So I'm going to put my finger right here, make a point right here. And let me turn on another light. Okay. You had a weird shadow over there. Okay, so point, like that. I want to make it about the same size as this. I never do it exactly because I'm not a robot. Though that is pretty good, if I do say so myself. Okay, so remember, there's a point here. There is a point here. Since you learned it last week, and, well, you're going to have to get this checked by me anyway. So then I'm going to erase the middle part of the eye. I'm not erasing any other part. I'm erasing the middle part of the eye. Then I'm going to go ahead and do that circle that is the color part of your eye. Does anybody remember what that is called? Starts with an I, which is ironic because it's an eye. But this part of the eye starts with an I as well. If you said iris, you are correct. This is the iris part of your eye. It's the color part of your eye. This in the middle is called starts with a P. Pupil. Okay. Remember, if you did that whole circle, it would extend outside of the eye like this. It would extend outside of the eye, but your eye lids always cover part of it unless you're really super surprised for some reason. So I'm going to erase that little bit that I just did, because you're not supposed to have that part. Okay, so over here I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead, come down here. My circle is covered up a little bit on each side. And then I'm going to do my pupil in the middle. Very good. I didn't have to color that in. I could paint that later. Okay, so now that you have the eyes, you have to get it checked by me. I'm going to be sitting somewhere in your room, probably either at a big table or at your teacher's desk, and you have to bring your paper up to me. When you are online, please stay socially distanced 3 feet away from the person in front of you. Wherever the line goes, but you have to stay 3 feet away from the person in front of you. This is during COVID. If I'm playing this and it's not during COVID, obviously it's whatever is the rule right then. But yes, so you're bringing this up to me to get checked. If your eyes are off, then everything else will be off on your face. So it's important. This is the only part that you have to get checked by me, but you do have to get checked. So let's start that up. Okay, so we are back, and now I'm going to turn this to its side. If you are checked and everything is correct, then you are going to take your fingers, you're going to put it on your eye line, you're going to put it on your chin, and you're going to go together at the same rate, and you're finding the midpoint. So the midpoint is where the nose is going to be. So I put a little mark right there. If you want to right now, you could go from the nose line to the chin and measure that as well, so that you're ready for the mouth when the mouth comes around. Okay. So now I'm going to do the nose. There is a little saucer, like a saucer of milk. So there's a little tiny saucer of milk right there under the guideline. It touches the guideline on the top of the saucer, but it's under the guideline. Then attached to that saucer of milk, there is a hole. This is your nostril hole. It's right on the guideline, this nostril hole. Right on, like the guideline goes right through the middle of that. Let's do a close-up. Okay, so the nostril line goes right through the middle of that hole. Then I'm going to skip a little bit of space. I'm skipping like a centimeter. And from the guideline, let me extend the guideline out each side. From a little above the guideline to the guideline, you're going to do a parentheses. And I'm doing it about a centimeter away. Centimeter away. You can gauge how much you have to do away. Okay, centimeter away, above the guideline, but touching the guideline is the parentheses, that is the side of your nostril. Then I'm going to erase these guidelines in between. Erase, erase. Helps to have a good eraser. And that is my nose. I'm not going to do a bridge because the bridge of your nose, because I don't need one. And I did it on the sample last week. So if you want to do one, you know how to do one. Okay, so this is the mouth guideline. So what I want to do here is I want to mimic this right here, this little saucer. I'm going to go right above the guideline, because remember the top lip is above the guideline. The lower lip is below the guideline. I'm doing a saucer right here. Also, I'm doing a saucer right on the guideline, because that's how your lips go. Okay, and then you have the two mountains. So this is one mountain, this is the other mountain coming to the sides. Then I think on the video he did a river like this. That's right on the guideline, and then below the guideline is your lower lip. So below the guideline is your lower lip, which he said was a boat on the video. The professional artist that we looked at last week from Art Hub said it was a boat. Okay, so those are your lips. If you want to have smiley lips, maybe, here, let me erase part of my lips. Maybe you want to have smiley lips like this. You're just going to bring them up a little bit like that instead of that. So I'm going to come over here, bring up a little bit like a mustache, like a fancy mustache. And then you're going to come down like this, just like the boat was before. But now I'm smiling a little bit, okay? Actually, it's kind of a smirk. I'm smiling on one side. Okay, so now we're doing the eyebrows. So you go from the corner of your eye, and that's where your eyebrow should start, a little bit above, of course. And then you're just mimicking the shape of the eye. So it goes like this goes like this. And it has to be a shape. It's not just a line. It has to be a shape that can be filled in later. If you want to measure whether you did it correctly, the edge of your nose should line up with the corner of your eye, should line up with the end of your eyebrow. If you want to see that you did it exactly right. So the same thing over here. I'm going to go straight up from the point of my eye, pretty much the same area where this was. And I'm going to mimic that curve. Mimic that curve. Are these the exact same? No, nobody's perfect. Let me see if I got the dimensions right though. Edge of the nose, edge of the eye, edge of the eyebrow. Oh yeah, I got it. I got it. All right. So now I'm going to turn my paper sideways. Now, if you divided, remember, this is to find your hairline. If you divided this line into 3 different sections, it might look like this and like this. And then this is pretty equal to what this is. This is pretty equal to what this is. Now, if this would be your hairline right here. Now, if you can't do that, that's okay. Let's not do that, because that's hard. So if you want to go like this and find the midpoint, you're just going to go a little bit above that. You're not going to go halfway above that. You're going to go a little bit above that and mark it right there. Okay? And that should be good enough for your hairline. So remember Mona Lisa? She had a hairline right here. Everybody's hair does not start at the top of their head. A lot of people, even after the practice last week, put their hair on the top of their head and didn't go down here. Your hair starts down here. It does not start at the top of your head. So this is my hairline. I'm going to pretend this time that I am a boy. So I did a girl last time. I'm going to pretend I'm a boy this time. So let's say I'm a boy with very short hair. And in fact, I'm going to erase this now because I don't need it anymore. Because hair is not always symmetrical, and usually it's not at all symmetrical. So I'm going to erase this. So your hair should take up all of this space, should take up this space on the side, should take up this space on the side. And as a boy, could end there. As a girl, it usually comes down a little bit further. Or more, or a lot further, actually. So all of this space has hair on it. Do not make yourself bald, okay? So all of this space has hair. Oh, let me get everything in the frame there. Okay, all of this space has hair. Let me make this bigger. There we go. All right, so now if I'm doing a boy, I am going to maybe have a side part here, maybe, or maybe it goes like that. I don't know. And then I'm gonna have hair that comes down here, a little bit over here, a little bit over here beyond the hairline, okay? I'm gonna have hair that also comes down here and comes down a little bit below the hairline like that. All right, so I'm also gonna have a little bit of hair over here. So this is gonna go this way, like that. This is gonna go this way. Oh, maybe it has a little cowlick right there that's sticking up a little bit and come down over here. If you wanna do ears, you can do ears. It would start at the eye line and go to the nose line, start at the eye line. Some of you were very interested in doing ears and go to the nose line right there. I'm gonna erase these guidelines over here because this is the project, so I don't want guidelines to be showing anywhere. I missed one from inside the eye. Gonna come over here. So this is the boy head that I have. I'm doing the hair very light because for next week it might change and I might have to change this entirely. So that is my boy head. From here you're gonna do the neck, which comes down about usually where the eye ends, it comes down. So if I went from a line straight from where the eye ends, it would come down like that. If I went from where the eye ends right here, it would come down like that, and that would be a neck, okay? So we are not doing anything else to this today. Next week, we are going to be painting this. I think next week, we'll see how far you guys get. I'll bring the paints just in case, so you could, in fact, paint. We could talk about the skin color a little bit this week, if you want. Okay. Good luck. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. So I'm at home right now and I don't have Crayola. I forgot to bring home Crayola paints. So I went to my kids' Crayola paints and this is what they look like. Are you kidding me? But it's my own fault. I didn't bring my own Crayolas home. So you're gonna get a brush that's kind of like this brush. It's called a round brush and it's the basic Crayola brush. I'm gonna wet the spaces, especially that are dirty. This is any time that you have a dirty paint set. I don't even know what that little crumb is. Ew, gross, guys. Anytime you have a dirty paint set, you just wet it. Let the water soak in a little bit. I think that's black. I don't think I have to clean that one out. I don't know. I'm gonna see what's in there. I don't know either. Yuck. Okay, so I think those are the ones that are pretty well. I'm gonna put a little extra in the yellow because yellow is a very light color and I don't want that black to be in there. Oh, my kids, my kids, my kids. So once the paint has been in there for a little while, you go back with a tissue. This is a napkin from some restaurant, I don't know. And you just wipe it out. Now you're losing some of the paint when you do this. You're losing some of the pigment of the paint because you're wiping out some good paint along with the not so good stuff. Notice that hardly did anything. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go ahead and wet it some more. What is in there? I'm gonna roll it around a little bit. See if I can get some of that out. Maybe it has to soak for a while, so I'll come back to it. Maybe I'll go to the orange and see how that does. Oh my gosh. That's still very black too. But usually, not right now, but usually if you put water in it and mix it around a little, you will get the dirty paint out. I think I'm lifting out most of the paint here because I could see the bottom of this orange now, which actually looks brown. Oh, RJ and Charlotte, my goodness. Okay, so Maybe this is a lost cause. I don't know. But usually when your paints are dirty, you wet it down and then you wipe it out with a paper towel and you are good to go. Since I don't have these to work with, I'm going to put these aside. Blech. I am going to take my paints that I have in my house and I'm just going to use the colors that you have in your Crayola set. So I'm actually going to use this for the top. Okay, see that top, that clear top? It's supposed to be clear top, but it's a little dirty. This clear top is what you actually mix paints in if you want to mix some of your paints. So I'm gonna make sure my brush is nice and clean after going into those dirty, dirty paints, which I don't know how long have been that dirty, but okay, so my brush is nice and clean. I am going to put my brush in, let's see, I think I'm gonna put my brush in the orange. So I'm gonna take this out and the blue. So orange and blue. Orange and blue are opposite each other on the color wheel. So if I took, maybe we'll do an experiment. I'll take yellow and purple. Those are opposite on the color wheel. And I'll take red and I'm going to take a greenish blue because I think it's more of a greenish blue in real life for the opposite, for the complementary colors for red. Okay, so I'm first going to do orange and blue, and I'm going to be using this as my mixing plate. So maybe I should put this up here so I don't have to paint right on my project. So I'm going to put a little water on here. I'm going to put a little water on here. Water, water, water. You can't have watercolor without lots of water. Lots of water. Okay, I think that's good enough. I have a little bit of blue on my brush. I'm going to put that in one of these little mixing places right here. Then I'm going to wash my brush. You always wash your brush in between colors. And I'm going to go ahead and roll like spaghetti on the orange. I want to roll like spaghetti on the orange for a pretty long time because I want a lot of orange to be on there. Orange is not as powerful of a color as blue is. So blue tends to overtake orange and just become blue. So I want a lot of orange in this. Okay, if I mix those two together, you should get a neutral. So this is a little too orange right now. So I'm gonna get more blue. I'm gonna wash my brush first. Anytime you go to another color, you wash your brush first. And I'm gonna get a little bit of blue. See, I just dipped in it. I didn't really roll like spaghetti a whole lot. I'm gonna put that blue in there, wash my brush, because maybe that was too much blue. I just wanna add a little bit of blue at a time. Okay, this is becoming more of a neutral. Neutrals are browns, neutrals are grays sometimes. I think this is good for a skin color right now. This color I think is a good skin color. So I'm actually gonna add a little bit of water to it because I want to be able to cover my whole face. And I'm gonna go in here and do this. Now you think that's pretty dark, probably, but then when you spread it out, it becomes lighter and lighter. I know that there's a lot of water on here, so it becomes lighter and lighter. And this is a lot closer to my skin color. Make sure that all of your guidelines are erased at this point. So that is a good skin color. So that is blue and orange mixed together. Those are two complementary colors. They are opposite on the color wheel, and those are them mixed together. So if I wanted to extend this color a little or make it even lighter, I would add some more water. The water would actually reactivate the stuff on here and dilute it a little bit to make it lighter. So it reactivates and dilutes. Dilutes means you're adding water to something. You're making it less strong. I'm gonna go under here and all that. Okay, maybe I should stop right here so I can test out some other complementary colors, see if I can get the same result. So I'm going to wash my brush over here. I am going to get my handy dandy little paper towel thing and wipe out here because I want to use this space again. Okay, so that's nice and clean. And now I'm going to use yellow and purple. Let's see if I get as good of a neutral with yellow and purple. So obviously the yellow is a weak color. We've talked about that before in art class, how yellow is a weak color. In any color next to yellow, you have to have more yellow than that color. We did that with clay, I believe. So I'm going to go into the yellow and I'm going to roll like spaghetti. I'm going to roll like spaghetti for a while so I get a lot of that yellow on my brush. Notice can you see this? I think you can. Let me move this a little. My brush is on its side. I'm rolling like spaghetti. Roll like spaghetti. Okay, then I'm going to put that yellow over here. Get as much off my brush as I can. I'm going to wipe my brush over here so it doesn't drip. Okay, so now I'm going to go in. I have to wash my brush first because I'm switching colors. I'm not going to go directly into the purple. So now I'm going to go into the purple and take up a little bit of purple. That might not be enough, but I just want to take a little bit of purple at a time and add it to the yellow. This should also create a tan or brown, depending on how much you add. Okay, so this has that color on it. I want to wash it off first so that when I go back into the purple, I need more purple. And I picked up a little bit of purple. I'm going to add it to the yellow again because it's still looking a little yellow. Oh, there's like a fuzzy. Did I get it? No, I didn't. Here, fuzzy, get out of there. Okay, so that is turning out pretty well. Oh, I think that fuzzy's still in there. What is that? I don't know. Technical difficult. Oh, probably a dog hair. My dog princess. I did not name her that. Okay, so I'm gonna just roll that all together. See how it's nice and tan now, and maybe I'll go on the face over here. So it's kind of the same color. It's kind of a little different, definitely a little different. Maybe I want to add some water to it. A little different. But it is a neutral. It is a face color. Definitely. So this is a little darker, so I'm gonna go back into the water and I'm going to dilute that a little bit. It's making this side a little lighter, that side a little darker, and so that it all blends and I don't have that really crisp line that was there. And that looks pretty good. Under your nose should be a little darker because there's always a shadow there. I don't know why there would be a shadow over here, so I'm trying to get that out by getting more water and diluting that paint. And you want it to be as even as possible, but sometimes there's always streaks and stuff where you stopped and the paint dried. That's fine. I'm gonna pick up a little more paint for the eyes because the eyes should be where you have eyelids. It's a little darker. Okay, and you want to carry that throughout the forehead, but maybe I want to take my other two neutrals, or my other two complementary colors. So I took the red and the like aqua because those are, even though red and green are opposite on the color wheel, for my personal like testing of what is complementary to my eyes, which we will do in 3rd grade. It's red and aqua instead of red and green. So I'm going to rub a little in the red, put it over here, and rub a little in the aqua, put it over here. Oh, that's making like a purple. That is not making a neutral. Huh. Maybe I need a more orange in my red. So I'm going to take some of the orange too. If that happens, purple and what makes a neutral? Purple and what makes a neutral besides orange? If you said purple and yellow makes a neutral, you would be correct. So this is more of a blush color. So I'll show you what that looks like on here. Go right up here in between my hair. It's a little darker, but it's a little more pink on the pink side. It's a warmer skin color. You could see that. It's not really going to blend with the other skin colors I have on here already, but this is a neutral. This is a skin color that you can use if you want. So now I'm just blending, blend, blend, blend. Okay, you can see parts of my paper where it was really wet. That's going to dry up later on. It's not going to look like that. Okay, so you can use this mixing technique for anything. So since I have this blush color right here, I might add a tiny, tiny touch of red for the lips. Now this is already like a skin color, so I added a tiny touch of red. Around my lips is dry. That's an important part because you want it to be dry where you're drawing on your lips. If it was wet, it would, this blush color would bleed into the skin color, and it would look like, I don't know, that like you were red. Maybe you have a zit or something. I don't know. Okay, so that's pretty good. That can dry like that. I think I have a little bit more here. I'm gonna, wherever I want it to be a little darker, I always try to end there or put little dots where I want it to be darker. Okay, so that's pretty good for lips. I think that the paper is curling a little bit, so all the paint is going to the bottom lip. I don't like that because usually the top lip is darker because it's in shadow. So I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm not going to rub. I'm going to just press like that, and that's perfect. I like that color for lips. And then you're going to let this dry. Okay, so all we're doing today is drawing the face and doing the skin color if you can. Good luck.